Hi and welcome back to the third video in the series around Personal Independence Payment, PIP. In this video we're going to talk about the mobility component and how to make an effective claim as somebody with central vision loss or macular disease. Again, this is based on points and how many you score within the two questions of the mobility component. 8 points will get you the standard rate and 12 points will get you the enhanced rate. There are two questions within the component. One is about planning a journey and the other is about the physical ability to walk. Now for people with central vision loss, we're going to concentrate on planning a journey. Planning a journey is not just about walking. It's about using public transport, understanding the world around you, and whether weather conditions and things like that make it more difficult for you to do so safely. Again, we need to consider those four things: whether you can do it to an acceptable standard, repeatedly, in a timely manner, and as I've said, safely. I don't know about you, but moving around is quite difficult. I'd use a guide dog, personally, but planning a journey isn't just about walking. It's about how well you can use public transport and understand the world around you, and how weather conditions and sunlight, especially for people with central vision loss, can affect how easily it is for us to move around. The form talks about familiar and unfamiliar areas, and the more support you need in a familiar area, the more points you're going to score, and therefore you never know, you might get the enhanced rate of the mobility component. Now the form also talks about what kind of support you need in both familiar and unfamiliar areas. So it asks whether you use a guide dog like I do, a long cane or any kind of mobility aid, or whether you use sighted support. So that's another person to help you get around. Now I would argue that anybody with central vision loss is going to struggle to get around somewhere unfamiliar. So if I was to take you and put you somewhere that you've never been before, so maybe a city that you've never visited, and asked you to find a train station to get home, how do you think you'd be able to achieve that task? Would you need to ask for help? Are you able to read the signs? Oh, we're back to reading again. Are you able to identify road names? Follow the map on your phone? How would you do that? So when you're completing the form, you need to put that down. And if you need that sighted support to do that, then write it down. Even if you're getting sighted support off somebody that you don't know. So for example, I'll be walking down the road with my guide dog looking for a particular shop, and if I stop someone and ask where that shop is, that is sighted support, and that needs to go down in the form. Long canes, obviously, are a mobility aid, so therefore they do count as well. Simple canes, I argue, they do count. Especially if you're with someone that you don't know, because you're more likely to use that aid while you're out and about on your own more often. Consider the fact that the world around you, you're not in charge of. So things will change. So even if you're leaving your front door and it's bin day, or your neighbour hasn't cut their hedge, or someone's parked on the path, all these things impact on how easy it is for you to move around and your understanding of the world around you. So if you're using a guide dog or a long cane or a person in somewhere familiar, you are going to score 12 points. So if you can show that you need that support in an unfamiliar area, and only an unfamiliar area, then you will score 10 points and find yourself on the standard rate of the mobility component. So again, like the daily living component, it's so important to evidence everything. So when it might have gone wrong or very wrong, make sure you put that down. You need the DWP to have stories to make decisions about so you can score points. Remember, this is also about public transport and the use of public transport. So do you need help to find a train station platform or get on the right train? Or a bus? How do you read the bus numbers if you can't see fine detail? How many times has a bus gone past you while you're waiting at your bus stop? Public transport also includes aeroplanes. And I don't know about you, but I do like to go on a plane. and I always book assistance to get through the airport because it's so much easier to get through with somebody giving me sighted support, even though I have my guide dog. So make sure you put that on the form as well. The other question in the mobility component is about the physical ability to be able to walk. Now, most people with central vision loss don't need to concern themselves too much with this part, but if you do have any difficulties, just write them down and make sure that you evidence it, much like you've done for the rest of the form. If you'd like any pointers about how to complete this section, just call the Macular Society Advice and Information Service on 0300 30 30 111, and remember that the electronic version of the PIP2 form, including its covering letter and a copy of the descriptors, are available in a link within the description below. The next video is going to be about the face-to-face medical assessments, so we'll see you on that one.